and gentlemen, welcome to the Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I am Falakzeb Khan, anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings acquired by these industry leaders. We also hope that by conducting these FaceTime with industry stalwarts interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that are proven success formulae for many. And this is what we aim to achieve with these sessions, which are a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge sharing community. We have one such personality on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Mr. Shankar Ghosh. Welcome on FaceTime with Leaders.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here with us today. And let me give you a quick brief about Mr. Ghosh. He is a dedicated professional with extensive experience in the coal sector. His career timeline demonstrates a progressive trajectory marked by increasing responsibilities and notable achievements. He has 37 years of total work experience. In terms of his sales and marketing excellence, he has a consistent track record of high achievements and continued year-on-year growth. Along with his sales and marketing purview, he has also taken part in initiatives like brand building, team building, enhancement of relationships at workplaces, etc. His latest role has been General Manager of Marketing and Sales at Coal India Limited. Thank you so much for joining us today, and let's start with the questions. So, Mr. Ghosh, could you please sum up your career journey for our viewers today?
Yeah, my career journey began after I passed out my MBA. That was in 1987. For the first 2 years, I was in private sector. Then I got an opportunity with Coal India Limited. And I arrived at a small place called Barkakana. At that time, it was Bihar. So I joined there in Coal India, one of the subsidiaries, that is Central Coalfields Limited. And there I started working, and that career stretched for 34 years in Coal India. So initially, to begin with, it was in a micro environment. I was given a responsibility of looking after the dispatches, coal dispatches from various siding of that particular field, which is known as Karanpura field. Karanpura field, it had about 20 sidings, and I had to, plan and supply of rakes from the railways. I have to talk with the railways. I have to get the rakes in proper time when coal was available at the sidings and get the rakes dispatched. So that was the beginning. And slowly this role expanded. What I mean to say is that from that Karanpura field, then I had to dispatch from the whole of Central Coalfields, the subsidiary. And from the subsidiary, later on, I came to Coal India. Then I had to look after the total logistics and distribution part of Coal India, consisting of, started with 20 rakes per day, and it reached up to 300 rakes per day.
That's great.
The journey that I started, when I started, it was annual dispatch was 150 million. And in 2022, that annual dispatch, that reached a quantity of 662 millions. Means per day, about 300 rakes were moving, in addition to the other modes of dispatches, like through merry-go-round system or by road or by whatever other modes are available. So that was a huge responsibility. And for all those years, for every 100 million that we added, it was a groundbreaking performance, truly speaking. From 150, we crossed 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, maybe 4 or 5 years apart that happened, because increasing that quantity of dispatch is, no mean task.
Definitely.
So all these things were taken care of. So that was my career, and in addition to the logistics part, I had to deal with other parts also. That I will tell you in maybe later.
Yes. That's really interesting to know. And so you've had more than 3 decades of experience. So I would like to know which job role has been the most exciting for you throughout your professional life.
Actually, the most important and very challenging role that was is the operational logistics part of it, the dispatching of the coal from the sidings. It involves the railways, the consumers, and the coal company. You have to look after the forecasting, the planning, how many rakes are going to be dispatched from a particular siding, what is the process of loading, whether it is mechanical, or is it, initially there were manual loading sidings, but later on they were phased out. All the sidings became mechanical sidings, uh, loading with the help of payloaders or loading systems. And the loading time even was cut down. When I joined, the loading time was about 15 hours or even 20 hours. It was cut down to 3 hours. The siding that was loading one rake in 15 hours or 20 hours, it came down to that siding loading 3 rakes, 4 rakes, even 6 rakes per day. So that is quite a commendable achievement, I would say.
That-
Actually, the commendable part is that the sidings which were loading 1 rake a day, they started loading 6 rakes a day. So that loading time, you can imagine, the loading time was cut down from 20 hours maybe to 3 hours. So that was the part which could be achieved.
That's
This is
really,
one thing. This is one thing.
yes. Must have faced a lot of challenges throughout, since you're mentioning. What have been the 3 key challenges you have faced during your career, and how have you managed to overcome them?
The three challenges, if I may refer to, the first one is that this one, the operational logistics part. To starting with the manual loading, where the manual laborers used to come and load the rake. It gradually, this system was to be phased out, and the mechanical type of loading was brought in. So that was the first part. That was the first challenge. Second challenge is the readiness of coal, availability of coal at the sidings, and matching that with the supply of rake by the railways. So it has to be all the time around. 24 hours. It had to be coordinated so that the rake is placed at proper time, loaded in proper time, and dispatched. So that was a challenge in the initial period when I joined and learned the tricks of the trade. At that time, learning this thing was very important. That you must get the rakes when it is required. Suppose you don't have coal at the sidings and you get the rake, it's of no use. It will just, we have to pay some demurrages to railways. So that was not proper. So that was most important. And the second challenge is that when I went to the next level, it was the forecasting part, the forecasting, the planning. We have orders. We have to get the allotment from the railways in those sidings where coal is, I mean, uh, uh, coal is transported in sufficient quantity, and rakes are getting loaded in time, and the monthly target or the daily target is achieved. So that is the second part, is the forecasting part. That is also very important. And the third challenge that I faced is when I became the head of the department of one more subsidiary, that is Eastern Coalfields Limited. It was a sales office in Kolkata, which I headed. And there I had to look after so many other things. For instance, the programming part, the how the rakes are getting programmed, or the even for that matter the road dispatches, the road bookings, how the e-auctions have to get those conducted with the help of the service providers in right time and in right quantity and at right places. So that was yet another challenge. And there was in that office there were some legal issues that I also had to handle since I was unknown to that part. I mean, legal knowledge, I was very scanty legal knowledge. I had to learn it. I had to learn it over the time through the
Yes.
various cases that I had to deal with, and that was a challenge. So these are the challenges that I had to handle over the time, and from day in day out. I mean, every day, each and every day was a day full of challenges.
Very interesting, but I'm sure like it's really helped you in your growth throughout.
Very much indeed. Very much.
Yes. So as you have worked for the coal industry and also have sustainability inclinations, how do you reconcile both views?
Well, you see, as far as the sustainability inclination is concerned, we are looking more towards the greener energy. Okay, so what happens is that coal continues to be the prime energy source so far, and at least for a decade or two, it will continue to do so, because until and unless the other renewable sources of energy reach that level where they can make a significant contribution towards the energy scenario in the country, uh, the coal has to continue because it is available in abundance in our country, and it is affordable. And if you go by the energy cost, even the energy cost, you will find that the thermal coal has a lower energy cost than the other types like solar and wind and hydel and nuclear and other types of energy. Yes, they are coming up and they will come up. By 2030, the scenario is, I mean, much more greener and much more positive. So, what our thinking is right now that whatever we are producing, we have to produce it in a more environment friendly manner. So, by modernizing our equipment, by mitigating the pollution, so these are the various ways, by modernizing the mining techniques or safety or transportation, battery operated vehicles, and through first mile connectivity. For instance, right now the trucks are transporting the coal to various sites. So that creates more pollution. So what we have to do, we have to create first mile connectivity. What is first mile connectivity? From the production point, we have to bring the coal through conveyors to the siding where there will be silos, and the rakes will be supplied in the silo, and they will be loaded. I mean, there will be pre-measured quantity. Each wagon, I mean, each rake consists of maybe 60 boxes, 60 wagons, and each wagon you have to load maybe 60 tons, 62 tons, whatever the of that specific wagon, and that pre-measured quantity will be kept in silo for each and every wagon. And for loading of a box, it takes about 2 to 3 minutes. So you can imagine how fast the loading process is and how less the pollution will be. So that first mile connectivity is one of the most important projects that is going on now. So this is the way I mean, we are handling the uh, greener part of the environment, so that the eco-diversity of wherever the mining projects are going on, the eco-diversity could be maintained, lands can be reclaimed, ecological balance can be restored, and those things we think.
That's wonderful. So, as in the beginning, you mentioned earlier it used to take so many hours, and then later it used to just, load in 3 hours. So, I'm sure that this because of technology. So, I want to ask you, what are the most significant changes with technology you have seen in the coal sector or sales field? And what do you see ahead with the advent of IoT, 5G, AI, ML, blockchain, Web 3.0, etc.?
Yes, we started with registers. We started with writing registers. When I joined, We used to write registers after every loading of a rake, the quantity, the destination, everything was written down. Slowly it evolved. Just as the loading, it used to be manual loading. When it came to payloaders, now it came to silos. There were CHPs earlier. CHPs are coal handling plants. Right now there are silos where pre-measured quantities are loaded into the boxes. So that technology evolved. Now they are using drones for mapping. For there is a real-time rake turnaround measurement. Each rake that is loaded and going to the destination, various power plants, cement plants, fertilizer plants, those rakes are coming back to the coal loading sidings again. What is the turnaround time? The real-time turnaround time is measured. So these are the technologies that we are using that are helping us to increase our dispatches. Otherwise, we could not have reached from 150 to 662. It is not possible.
Yes, that's there definitely. So technology, like in short, obviously has helped a lot in the coal sector as well.
Yes, very much, very much.
So since you are now a corporate governance expert, what values do you bring to the table?
Uh, the main values that I'd like to bring to the table are number one, the accountability. For every action, you must be accountable. When I'm taking an action, I must be accountable. Second thing is the responsibility. I have to take the responsibility. Until I take the responsibility, I cannot build the confidence of the stakeholders, of the shareholders. I have to be responsible for my action. The fairness. The fairness, I mean, when you are dealing with a class of shareholders, you have to be equitable with each of them. And lastly, you have to be, I mean, ethical. So this will build the shareholders' confidence, the stakeholders' confidence, and those are the values that is required. Even by it is the essence of ESG. It is the essence of ESG. So these are the values that I would like to be there. And one factor I'd like to mention that for this you also need a powerful dashboard. Powerful dashboard indicates the various parameters that are required for this.
As you know, Mr. Ghosh, we are building the global thought leaders community for cross-pollination of knowledge and a community of independent directors for having better ESG and corporate governance in the country. What are your thoughts about these initiatives taken by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Hemal Mehta, and the whole WDC team?
Or it's a wonderful concept, I should say, because by cross pollination you mean that you are bringing the various intellects together, and when they are sharing their knowledge, the innovative thinking, it comes to a place and it generates a very, new results,
Yes.
new thinking, which anyone might not have ever have thought of. So this is the most positive part of this. I like it very much.
Thank you so much. So it was
Thank
fantastic conversing with you, and I'm confident that your insights will inspire future leaders. Thank you once again for joining us today on FaceTime with Leaders, Mr. Shankar Ghosh. We
thank
wish
you.
you the best for your future endeavors. Moreover,
Thank you.
trust that this initiative by Directors Institute has unquestionably expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds. It was great having you here with us today, and thank you so much for sharing your wonderful insights about your career journey and the challenges that you faced throughout. I'm sure that everyone watching this, it will help them grow in their business too.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.